Joe Biden was credibly accused by a former staffer. We played it for you yesterday on the show, that Joe Biden digitally penetrated her against her will and sexually assaulted her. And by an assault, he stuck his hand down her pants and stuck his finger in her, down her skirt, and stuck her finger in her. And then wagged his finger in her face and said, "You're nothing to me. You are nothing." That's what Joe Biden did. Now, if you remember, well, here's what, and that story was broken in The Intercept, and then there was an interview on Katie Halper's show, and we covered it here. So that story was broken by Ryan Grimm in The Intercept, and here's how Howard Dean responded to it. This story may or may not be true, but it's from The Intercept, which one is often not credible. So he is now do you know why women don't come forward? Because Howard Dean, one of the heads of the Democratic Party, is now slut-shaming someone, saying that she is a liar. That's what Howard Dean is doing. Howard Dean is now Donald Trump or Bill Clinton. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. So now Howard Dean is lying. And now you know why women don't come forward. Here's one of the most powerful voices in Democratic politics, one of the most well-moneyed tools. And he's on MSNBC constantly. And he says that newspaper's not credible. It's not the newspaper. It's the woman. The Intercept didn't invent that story. They didn't make it up. That woman came forward. They're reporting on that woman. So do you think that woman doesn't exist and the Intercept made it up? Because that would be the only thing. So you're saying, oh, the Intercept is making up this story. That woman doesn't exist. Do you see what the scum of the earth the Democratic Party is? This is the party Bernie's in and props up and is going to tell you to vote for Joe Biden. This is the party Tulsi's in and props up. And already told you to vote for Joe Biden. Bernie already told you to vote for Joe Biden already anyway. He said he's a decent guy. He could beat Trump, which is basically his campaign slogan. So Bernie is basically campaigning for Joe Biden, and you wonder why Bernie's losing to a guy who's fucking has the mental decline. Number 2, he says, was started by Glenn Greenwald, who helped Assange and Putin undermine the 2016 election. Now they're using McCarthyism to slander a woman who was sexually assaulted by Joe Biden. Now they're using McCarthyism. Now do you see how destructive fucking Russiagate is? No, you'll never see it. If you don't see it by now, you'll never see it. And you'll still keep pushing Russiagate, you fathead fucking morons. I tend to believe victims, but skeptical about sources like this. They are the Fox of the left. That's your Democratic Party? That's your Democrat. You think you guys are better than Trump? You guys are scum of the earth fucking liars who will throw a woman who was sexually assaulted by Joe Biden under the bus because it serves you politically. You are a scum of the earth, Howard Dean. You are just as bad as Trump. You're worse than Trump because Trump doesn't pretend he's not a piece of shit. You do. You're a liar. You're a garbage person, Howard Dean. Just like the Democratic Party is a garbage organization. Perhaps true if this were a legal case, but I think the court of public opinion is what counts. I believe Dr. Ford, and I think most Americans believe Dr. Ford, not a professional politician, which is what Kavanaugh is. That was him talking about Dr. Ford's accusation against Kavanaugh, who was being nominated for the Supreme Court. That was him saying that about that story. You know where that story came from? The Intercept. Do you know who it came from? The exact same reporter who broke this story about Joe Biden broke the story about Kavanaugh and Dr. Ford. It was Ryan Grimm. The exact same news source, the exact same reporter. He believed this one. He doesn't believe the one about Joe Biden. And he's willing to do McCarthyism to defend Joe Biden against being a raper. That's the scum that the Democratic Party is. And if you think anybody, they're better than Donald Trump, you're fucking wrong. You're a dupe. These people are scum of the earth, deny you health care while defending a raper. That's who Howard Dean is. That's who he is. And by the way, Joe Biden used to say, Joe Biden, when a woman alleges sexual assault, presumes she's telling the truth. Except when it comes to a Democrat. I love how Howard Dean says, I normally believe victims, but not this time because it's about us. Glenn Greenwald responded. Because Lee Fang had tweeted out, or Lee Fong, I think that's how he says it. He said, Howard Dean blocked me after I wrote this piece about him in 2016. It still might bother him. And it was in The Intercept. And it was about how Howard Dean takes all this money from a corporate lobbying group. So Glenn Greenwald says, Howard Dean, with one lying tweet, has convinced a huge number of extremely stupid and gullible Democrats that The Intercept and I are responsible for Tara Reade's accusations against Biden when we had nothing to do with it, and she's speaking for herself. And, by the way, the reason Governor Howard Dean tries to discredit The Intercept is our reporters have spent years investigating how he profiteers off his D.C. access and political celebrity, taking cash from everyone from the healthcare industry to Iranian cults. Here's Ken Klippenstein. He says the allegations are from a former Senate staffer, not The Intercept, asshole. Here's Lisa Maria Kin. She says, be skeptical about The Intercept all you want. Listen to her interview. You can hear her words, not the spin from any media outlet. And by the way, I was going to, Howard Dean has also blocked me, so I didn't have access to
he blocked me too. Katie
Halper, who did the interview with her, says, were you skeptical of The Intercept and Ryan Grimm when they broke the story about Kavanaugh sexually assaulting Christine Blasey Ford? Did you raise your reservations about them then? No, of course he didn't. Which how you know Howard Dean wasn't raised right. He doesn't have any morality. He's scum of the earth, and he's a lying scumbag profiteering off of your pain by lying to protect the establishment. Here's what Jamal Green says. Warren claimed Sanders said a woman can't beat Trump, and every news outlet covered it for days. Biden has sexually assault allegations against him, and the media silence. If you don't see what you're going on, you're just not looking. If you don't see what's going on, you're just not looking. Now, do you see when right-wingers say the media protects the Democrats? Do you see why they say that? Because the media is protecting Joe Biden right now. Carl Bezier says Democrats are only going to care about Joe Biden raping anyone if you stress that it's going to alienate voters and make him lose to Trump. They probably won't care even then, but the electability angle is their only hope, is the only one with a shot. They aren't going to care about the rape itself. Wow, that's so true. They only care in this rape and the fact that it might fuck up the election. That's the only reason they care about it. Same thing with that group, hashtag #MeToo, Time's Up or whatever the fuck. We talked about it yesterday. They totally dismissed her. They wouldn't listen to her claim. Why? Because it's about a Democrat. Being a Bernie bro got more coverage than a presidential candidate being accused of rape. Now you know why we have a show. And again, thanks to everybody for leaving this huge lane open for us.
Howard Dean we all remember when he ran for office and we're like, oh, here's an interesting voice to run for president. And then, they annihilated him when he went yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
And when I look back at
And then
that,
he got his mind right, didn't he?
boy, he got straight in line. He got it all straightened out for him. And now he does the evil work for, our corporate overlords
That's
at
right.
every turn.
That's Neera Tanden. She tweeted this out on the January 13th, 2020. Believe women unless it doesn't work for your ambition, apparently. And I'm sure there's a tweet like this from every Beijing leading Democrat. There's a tweet like this. Do you understand why your bullshit doesn't work? Do you understand why Trump beat you when you tried to run as you were more moral than him? Because you're not more moral than Trump. And apparently half the country knows that. You're not more moral than Trump. You guys are just as scummy as Trump. You're half of you are war criminals. Neera Tanden wanted to steal the oil from Libya so we could finance more wars, kill more people. That's who these people are. They're no better than Trump. They're all psychopathic murderers themselves who want to rape the country to fill their corporate pockets. That's who and deny you health care all along. That's who they are. They're not better than Trump. The Democrats are not better than Trump. They're fucking worse than Trump because they pretend they're better. So there you go. And great job by Ryan Grimm at The Intercept, and great job by Katie Halper at her show. And so here we are. And now you know that they're all scum. Now you know that they're all scum. Howard Dean, Joe Biden, Neera Tanden, the Democratic Party. And so when Bernie says that Joe Biden is a decent guy, he's lying. Joe Biden's not a decent guy, even before this rape accusation. Not the opposite of decent. Hey, this is the part where I tell you where our live shows are, but there aren't any. And then I would tell you to go join our premium, but nobody has a fucking job. So why don't you just enjoy the video?